Let my heart reflect thy light, as the moon reflects the light of the sun, in love, always in love. Let my heart reflect thy light, as the moon reflects the light of the sun, in love, always in love. Ooh, Allah, Allah, ooh, Allah, Allah, ooh, Allah, Allah, ooh. Ooh, Allah, Allah, ooh, Allah, Allah, ooh, Allah, Allah, ooh. Let my heart reflect thy light, as the moon reflects the light of the sun, in love, always in love. Let my heart reflect thy light, as the moon reflects the light of the sun, in love, always in love. Ooh, Allah, Allah, ooh, Allah, Allah, ooh, Allah, Allah, ooh. Ooh, Allah, Allah, ooh, Allah, Allah, ooh, Allah, Allah, ooh. Let my heart reflect thy light, as the moon reflects the light of the sun, in love, always in love. Let my heart reflect thy light, as the moon reflects the light of the sun, in love, always in love. Ooh, Allah, Allah, ooh, Allah, Allah, ooh, Allah, Allah, ooh. Ooh, Allah, Allah, ooh, Allah, Allah, ooh, Allah, Allah, ooh. Let my heart reflect thy light, as the moon reflects the light of the sun, in love, always in love. Let my heart reflect thy light, as the moon reflects the light of the sun, in love, always in love. Ooh, Allah, Allah, ooh, Allah, Allah, ooh, Allah, Allah, ooh. Ooh, Allah, Allah, ooh, Allah, Allah, ooh, Allah, Allah, ooh. My heart reflect thy light, as the moon reflects the light of the sun, in love, always in love. Let my heart reflect thy light, as the moon reflects the light of the sun, in love, always in love. Ooh, Allah, Allah, ooh, Allah, Allah, ooh, Allah, Allah, ooh. Ooh, Allah, Allah, ooh, Allah, Allah, ooh, Allah, Allah, ooh. Let me, one more time. My heart reflect thy light, as the moon reflects the light of the sun, in love, always in love. Let my heart reflect reflect the light, as the moon reflects the light of the sun in love, always in love. Let's do the invocation for all of the people who are present. This is from the light prayer of Muhammad. Beloved, give me light in my heart, and light in my hearing, light in my eyesight, light to my right, light to my left, and grant me light from above and light from below or underneath, and give me light in front of me and light from behind, and increase my light. May it be so. So last time when we met, I showed you all three of the different light cards, especially. They were from the tarot: the star, the moon, and the sun. So in contemplating where to go for today, I thought I would instead focus on the moon, because the moon, in order to really understand the other cards, the other archetypes, which could be called, the star could be called the divine light in Sufism, and the Nur. And the sun is really that internal light. But to find those, we have to be able to empty. And that's the representation of the moon, of that being able to empty enough of ourselves that we can actually receive the light from that is within and without, and to be able to actually utilize it. So we're going to start with the moon card, and I really loved this. The moon card to the left is from the Sufi tarot deck, and it often has, interestingly enough, in a lot of the tarot decks, the moon card does have some kind of animal that is associated in the moon card, because it has that that sense of drawing to it the that animal nature inside of us. Of there's a certain wonder, and there's also that sense of being able to not have all of our animal instincts being the only thing that we are in touch with in order to become connected to this emptying out. We have to be able to let go of be able to own and let go of the instinctual nature. So this is, and you can see on the one on the right, it's so many things. It's like, to me, it's kind of like what we have to let go of. There's like this plethora of selves inside that are always trying to get our attention. And that's really to become really enamored with the moon, to allow that emptying process to be able to reflect the light. We have to empty. Anything else you'd like to say about it?
Yeah, one of the things that come to me is the a breath that you can focus with the moon is you just let the exhalation happen. You don't worry about it, but you're a little conscious on exhaling through the left nostril. You don't even have to block it off. You can just have the intent. So the focus is on the exhaling through the left nostril, and that opens you more to that lunar current. And when Yaya has the images, it's good to let your gaze as she talks to soften on them, and in this case, go to the lunar moon breath and just let the images speak while the words flow around it. And one of the things that I've been doing as we've been contemplating this is, because again, when we unblend, we're just asking those other selves to step aside. We're not rejecting or getting rid of them. So in one of these, I actually began to just, they come up so I could be more receptive to high self and to the cosmos. But to be more receptive to anything, you have to separate from it first so you can come in relation. So eventually I had a circle. It was a little bit like the card on the right, but I had a circle of all the selves
Mm-hmm.
just around, just joining me so that I, as conscious self, could really be that clear mirror to reflect the light of high self and of the cosmos, of the larger, that nur, and however, whatever forms it comes in. So, yeah.
Yeah, in that card, it's so good because they have this large kind of Merlin-esque figure,
Mm-hmm.
kind of in charge, so to speak, of all the other, uh,
Selves,
the other
other selves,
selves.
narratives, stories, energies in the psyche. And it's almost in a circle. You could say, hey, could all the boats, everybody just go around the edge? I want to be in the lake,
Right,
uh,
and there is,
opening to the moon.
and that's the other thing is the moon is almost always reflected in these archetypal images in some body of water
Yeah.
because it's that sense of the moon quality has that flow, that liquidity, that sense of returning to unity, and that's what the
It's
water
fascinating because the one on
represents.
the left is the crescent moon,
Mm-hmm.
and the one on the right is the full moon. So just taking a moment with the moon breath, you just feel those too, because that's the neat thing about the lunar light. It varies, because it's always,
Yes.
there's a fluidity. It's flowing through different stages and different relationships with it. Yeah.
So you could even say how much we're reflecting at that moment in time, that part in us
Mm.
that is emptying out. There may be only a crescent that is, or a very small, tiny little new moon that is barely reflecting because there's so much going on
Well, I'm
on the
also
dark side of the moon, right?
Well, I'm also reading the LSD and the Mind of the Universe book. And as the ego dissolves, if we're really there fully in conscious self, then we're reflecting. But sometimes we're going to the crescent to the new moon because our sense of self is dissolving and we're just becoming
Mm-hmm.
the vastness. We're not even reflecting it anymore. We're just dissolving into it. So, yeah, it's a mystery, any of these archetypal images. So,
So as we start in with our induction today, welcome to all of you here. Good to see you. We're going to remember that whole wonderful experience of the induction is that the breathing in, the inhale, is always that sense of enlivening, bringing in each of, in this case, because I do it with the elements, each of the elements in. And at the same time, we always have to exhale. And with that exhale, we are really, it's that moon breath. We are letting go. We are continually sloughing off, what is no longer needed. You could say the dead cells. We're CELLS. And then there's all the parts of us that we can actually just keep saying, right now, this is what we're focusing on. So if you could just step aside, and that's what we're doing, is just asking those cells gently to step aside. No warring, no need to really push hard, but you just let the breath do it. So as you're breathing in, and we're going to start with the earth breath, breathing in that really the vitality of being present in this moment. And as we exhale, we're really letting go of anything that is in the way in our bodies, because we're going to start on that really level of the body. So we're going to really feel into our feet and our toes, and let ourselves really push into the ground. We might even want to touch them, and really just let ourselves find if there's anything that needs to happen on that, especially on that exhale with the toes as we're breathing into them. And then asking them to be able to let go and be present. And we're coming up into our shins and our knees and our thighs. Letting that exhale really bring us down into our whole legs now. Breathing in and breathing and exhaling out through our legs. Anything that needs to happen to let our legs really become present in this moment. Presence is this awake aliveness. And you can gently be moving them in whatever way feels good to help them to become more alive. And then going all the way up into your hips and breathing into those hips and the sexual organs, your first, second chakras. And then really letting yourself on that exhale, encouraging that whole area of your body to become alive, become present. So you can really feel it. Breathing up into your third chakra, the whole area right below your diaphragm, all the way to around your belly button, letting yourself really feel into that area, encouraging it to really become present right now, letting yourself feel it, whatever the condition is, but you're becoming present to however your body is right now in this moment. Letting it come up into your upper chest and whole heart area, your lungs, all of this lovely upper chest area, letting it stretch, do whatever you need to do to let it become present. Each inhale, deep, rich, full, letting in the energy of the earth and encouraging that whole area to let go into the presence of the moment. Coming up into your shoulders and your arms and really feeling those parts of your body. Encouraging them to become more present. You can touch them and let them really, if there's anything that you need to help encourage them to wake up. Becoming aware of your neck and your head. Stretching it or doing whatever you need to do to really let those areas really feel like they can come into being present with you, with your whole body. And letting your whole body begin to breathe into the whole body from your toes all the way up to the tip of your head, and letting your whole body feel its presence right now. That's really the light. Infusing it when we let ourselves become present in our body. You could say we're reflecting the earth. We are becoming reflectors of this earth energy, which has imbued within it life, aliveness. And just let yourself do whatever feels good in your body to let that body feel that the whole body is present right now. In whatever way that is, there may be pain, there may be tension, there may be relaxation, there may be heaviness, whatever you notice in your body, it's fine, just letting it be there. Maybe you feel light and joyful. One more deep, rich, full breath of earth. And then settling in for a moment, bringing our breath right to our heart and letting ourselves really exhale into the heart, breathing into the heart, exhaling into the heart. That earth breath, really bringing the earth to the heart and encouraging that heart to just be here with us, sturdy, present, grounded. Nothing to do, nowhere to go. And one more earth breath into the heart. And transitioning into that water breath. That water that really reflects the moon. So we're breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. And this time we're going to really let ourselves let that water in, that flow. And so we're encouraging our feet and our legs to just have some movement, some flow in them on that exhale so they can become watery. So we might want to start with one leg, all the way down to your toes and your ankles. Letting the knee move and the ankle move, and then switching to the other leg. We're letting the beautiful light of the water, this wonderful sense of flow and ease, enter into our legs, our feet, our ankles, our toes, our knees, all the way up into the hip joints. We can let the hip joint be felt through our legs by moving our legs, or we can also move it without the legs, but we can try both. Really encouraging that these parts of our body, we want them to feel the effects as we breathe in this water. We encourage them to really feel that flow of the water, the way water naturally reflects light. The sparkles. All the way up into our whole abdomen and torso, like the whole torso. Feel that light, breathing into it. Deep, rich, full breaths on that inhale and letting go. Letting the light of the water, the lightness, the flow enter into the torso. And then adding the shoulders and the arms, the wrists, the fingers, the hands. Breathing into the whole shoulder and arms and letting it go into the flow of the water on that exhale. And then coming into the neck and the head. Breathing deep, rich, full breaths in of water. Seeing that moon reflected in the water. Even as our own heads are unburdening, letting go of anything that's no longer needed to think about right now. We're right here in the water breath right now. And letting the water breath come throughout the whole body, letting everything unburden. We can lay down our burdens into the water. Let the water take them. Anything that feels too heavy or too difficult right now, we just give it up right now to the water. Letting our body lighten a little bit. Feel the sparkle. And then coming back to our hearts and really focusing now just on that heart, breathing into the heart and letting all the water rush over like a beautiful waterfall over the heart, inside the heart. Just allowing the heart to be cleansed, healed right now of anything that's happened in the past. We can always come back to it, but right now we're just encouraging the heart to know that it can be felt as whole. In this moment, in this time. Because it really ultimately is. One more breath into the heart. Encouraging any extra little debris that might be there to let go. And letting this transition come between the water and the fire breath. And in the fire breath, we begin to breathe in through the mouth and out through the nose. Deep, rich, full breaths to embody that fire, that sunlight, that heat, that light. And on the exhale, we're really encouraging every single part of our body to release enough that we can let the light in. So we're going to start with our legs and we're going to let the light in and shake them out on the exhale. Any last little pieces that feel like they can't be filled with this wonderful heat and light. You can let the shaking be really easy, like the kind of shaking that just kind of naturally happens. And letting it come all the way up into our hips. Our hips, our sexual organs, our intestines, our solar plexus. Let that little vibration, that vibration that's just contained within light, let it just help us to shake out, revivify us. Let it come all the way up into our heart and our upper chest. All the way up and down our backs, especially with our spinal column. All the way up into our shoulders and our arms and our elbows and our fingers and wrists. Letting it shake all the way up. All the way up to our necks and our heads. So our whole body is filled with this light. We're shaking out anything that's in the way of us being able to reflect this light. And then begin to turn your breath just to your heart so you can let the shaking kind of resolve and come into your heart. Breathing light, love into your heart. And really asking for it to really let go of any impressions that are on your heart that really make it hard to shine. We're warming it up. We're warming up the whole heart space. Let's take a couple more breaths into the heart like this with that beautiful warming energy. And as you're ready, just making that transition again. This time into the air breath, in and out through your mouth. We're beginning to feel really that lightness of being that is associated with air, kind of that purity. So we breathe in that purity, that lightness of being as we breathe in. And as we breathe out, we really let ourselves become holy, filled with holes, so that there's nothing left for the breath to catch onto. It just goes right through us. And we start with that experience in our heads and our necks, that sense of really letting go of any of the extra thoughts, ideas, concepts that we have right now. Letting that purity of the air element just create this beautiful sense of the air permeating us, our whole heads, our brains, our skulls, the gray matter, our eyes, our ears, our nose, our mouth. Our throats, all the way down into our body, our shoulders and our arms. Our whole torso, the back, the front, all dissolving in the air into the purity of the lightness of being. And just gently, if it feels right, you can move with it. Just any leftover pieces that need to just let go. You encourage them just in whatever way you need to just let in this air. And we're going to keep our bottom half sturdy, our legs, our feet, our hips. So we're just going to let the air permeate from our waist up. And as you're being in this place right now, turn the air breath to your heart. And you're sweeping out the chambers of your heart. So let that air come in. Sweep out anything else that is still there, roaming around, making it difficult to connect. Ask it to just ease back. We'll be back with you. You can imagine them in a boat in your heart or in a little space in your heart, but just allowing yourself to really create that ease of sweeping out the chambers of your heart. Making this beautiful home that you have ready for the beloved to enter. The beloved, the divine light. So then letting go even of the air breath. And just letting yourself be breathed. And particularly noticing your heart as you're doing this. If you're uncomfortable and you need to sit, you can do that. We'll sit in just about a minute. But just really letting yourself become aware of that air breath. The ether breath, as there's just air that's coming in, going out without you having to do anything. You can feel the air around you. And feel the revitalization of your own heart as you let this air breath just expand your heart with every breath that comes in and with every breath that goes out. Making more room for you and all of yourselves to just be. And as you're ready, you can really gently, slowly find a place to sit.
So just with whatever breath you wish, just continuing to massage your heart, allowing your breath to just flow in, your chest soft and porous. All your awareness is going to your heart. Just breathing this love in and out of the sacred space of your heart. And as we open and perhaps have this intention to be conscious self, to be receptive, to move into this receptivity of the moon, of the lunar consciousness, of the lunar aspect of conscious self, you may notice different thoughts coming through. And that's one level of some other part or self. Just asking that one to step aside, to just rest somewhere. There's nothing to do, nowhere to go right now. And then gently coming back to the sacred space of your heart, becoming just receptive. Becoming receptive to the garden, the sacred space of your heart. Whether you feel or see or hear. And while you do that, just listen to these words as the invocation. Let my heart become thy shrine. Let my heart become thy shrine. As the moon reflects the light of the sun, in love, always in love. So allowing the heart to be this place of love, of receptivity to the subtler dimensions of your inner life. And we just notice if there are any thoughts or feelings or different patterns of stress or tension in our bodies. But those are just different selves, and we can ask them to step aside, because right now we're just opening to the garden of the heart. They can form a circle of selves. You can look at each one lovingly, whether it's a thought or feeling or pattern of sensation, smile lovingly, and just letting them know you've received their message, and then gently having them just sit beside you, forming a circle, and inviting them to become receptive to this place of love, of the garden of the heart, a place of rest, of nourishment, of refuge. Perhaps imagine being in the garden of your heart in moonlight. Whether you see or just imagine that and feeling this gentle radiance, soft, open, gentle, like those cards of the moon, especially the one from the Sufi Tarot, that gentle moonlight, that crescent of receptivity, just becoming more receptive to this place of refuge, the sacred space of your heart. Maybe there's just a felt sense, or just the intention, or perhaps there are fragrances or tastes in the air, or the feeling of cool moonlight on your body, or there's the visual. Whatever way, just a few more breaths resting, becoming receptive to your heart, to the sacred space of your heart, whether it's a felt or a table of wisdom or a garden. Or just feeling that place in your chest. And using my words as a guide, you may move faster or slower. You can just continue to rest and stabilize in your heart, perhaps starting with the felt sense and opening to the eyes, the ears, the nose, feeling, seeing, hearing on a subtler level. But however, when you're ready, with all love and all respect, calling in High Self, our inner beloved, our inner guide, whether it's an animal ally or a wise being or a felt sense of presence and of love. Just with all love and respect, we call you in and just becoming receptive through your intention to High Self. And as you breathe in, breathing in the radiance, the love, and as you breathe back, breathing love, gratitude, appreciation for this dimension of your being, this dimension of the cosmos of infinity that dwells within you, this inner guide, this spirit of guidance. Opening for a time of communion to start. So many things in our busy outer lives draw our receptive attention, and here we're just focusing it into the heart and then into communion with High Self. And if other selves come up, just inviting them to join you. They can continue to step aside and sit with you, or go off somewhere else in the garden of the heart. But inviting them to attune to High Self too. Those that wish, those that don't can rest, step aside. And as you're ready, asking beloved High Self, how can we develop this quality of lunar consciousness? How can we rest? How can we become more receptive to really, whether it's in our outer lives, becoming receptive to love, harmony, beauty, perhaps being receptive when we see a beautiful sunset or a flower, or how can we become more receptive to our inner lives, to the light within, to all the different selves, to all the different dimensions and realms. Help us, beloved High Self. Any guidance on how to deepen this capacity of conscious self, of receptivity? As you continue to open to High Self, just feeling that presence in whatever senses, whatever ways, to really open, to really appreciate this presence and any guidance coming from High Self on how to become more receptive, but especially right now, how to become more receptive to you, beloved High Self. And then taking a moment to just notice, to be receptive to whatever other self is there, or selves. And just you could either take a number of breaths with one if one's there, perhaps one that worries or plans or has something to do, or who knows, whichever selves are there. Just spend a few minutes being receptive, just holding each in a loving glance with your loving presence, being receptive, just listening to each, or one, just for a few breaths on each, or if there's one, just staying with that one. Just really being receptive, really just listening to that one. With the support of High Self, just opening, being receptive to the different selves, whether you know them as thoughts, feelings, visual images, patterns in the body. And then I invite you, as you're ready, to just move back to high self. Have the intent to be receptive to high self. These other selves can be there, but you're gently opening your awareness, your receptivity to high self. And then as you're ready, back to what other selves are there, perhaps the same one or ones or a different one. Yeah, and just bringing your receptivity, your loving, compassionate, curious awareness to these other selves that are inside. Whether you have a visual image, hear their thoughts, feel their feelings, or sense the patterns of them in your body of tension and relaxation. And as you're ready, coming back to high self, really just pivoting your receptivity. So it's like we're noticing the sky or the clouds or we're just focusing back to high self. It's just changing the direction of your receptivity very gently, really opening to the presence of high self, whether through feelings or sensations or image or energetic. Just feel the presence. Have that intention, if nothing else. Opening to this vaster dimension of your being, held in the embrace of the beloved, of your beloved high self. And then coming back when you're ready to whatever other self or selves are there, just bringing your receptive, loving, curious, compassionate attention. And then inviting all the selves to just enter into the breath of unity. So all are breathing with high self. We're opening to high self and all the other selves at the same time. Just resting as we begin to bring our soul work session to a close for today. And as we're ready, we'll take a deep breath, and I will just say the first line of the beautiful song from our beginning as we bow to our inner life. Let my heart reflect thy light as the moon reflects the light of the sun in love, always in love. And then we come to our outer lives as we come out of the bow. Let my heart reflect thy light as the moon reflects the light of the sun in love, always in love. And then just take a moment to come back to your room, refreshed, alert, and just take a moment to reflect on your journey, on your waking dream of soul work for this morning. Whether you just do that inside, like reflecting on a dream, or you want to write or draw, however that works for you. And as you're ready, we'd love anything anyone wants to share about their experience as we open to this quality of lunar light of our beings, of this beautiful receptive quality of consciousness, of awareness. And while we rest, we can just be receptive to the presence of all of us here in our Soul Work Sangha this morning, and how beautiful. I think of that song, "We Are Truly Blessed." Yeah.
I love the light's color of Sushila and Karen. They both have these gorgeous orangish, very sun-filled. And we get to, a lot of us who are having the more bluish or the grayish or the brownish, we can just reflect that. And Shay has a little of both. The good old train. How are you doing, beloveds? If you want to just check in with even a word, I'd love to hear.
And maybe just if there's a word, and if you want to, that we could start with. Anybody wants to share a word?
Laurel.
The word is bone.
Bone. Down to the bone. Karen, are you ready?
I can.
Soothing.
What was that?
Karen, so did you say
Soothing.
Soothing. Yeah. And then I think Kalika, were you saying too?
Feel sparkle.
Sparkle.
Love light, because that's really one word.
What was that?
Love light.
Love light.
Because it's really one word. Thank you. Mary, were you going to say
Light,
something?
light filled.
Light filled. Beautiful.
Present.
Present.
Moon garden.
Moon garden.
Oh, that's lovely.
Moon Garden gave all my other self something to do while I was attending to high self.
Ah, I like that.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I when we were, I don't know where we were in the process, but I wrote down every concern becomes compost for the garden of the heart.
Mm,
Beautiful. Mm,
lovely. Yes.
mm. That's so beautiful because then the concerns actually enrich as they compost. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's such a lovely understanding. Yeah, they're precious too.
Yeah.
Mm, mm, mm.
I have two. I have lunar veil and mirror shawl.
Mm.
Those are that's hyphenated, the last one.
Mm,
Hmm.
mm.
Yeah, I also feel this kind of soothing, but my heart is substantial heart.
Feel a little of the shimmering veil, but it was lovely, Sushila, with that, because I can feel the part that gets always tense and figures out, but I can feel that as the tension in my head. But when I hold it as compost, it's such a lovely, it's so warm and welcoming to that self. Yeah, and the worries that that self has. Yeah.
Mm.
Anyone else? There's no compulsion, but I think we have Mudita. Do you want to share a word? And
Hi. Can I share more than a word? I had this when we were in the soul induction, this kind of inner light, whatever, seemed vision like. And it seemed a woman with a veil. One of my reads, her mother just died, and she sent me the picture of her in the, you know, body being burned, just as I was entering into this. And she looked a little bit like Mother Mary. She was kind of thin and always had the veil on, shawl. She's Hindu, loved Krishna. So I don't know if it was from this impression of seeing pictures of Mira Nuri's mother, but it felt like for a moment Mother Mary, visions of grandeur. But this woman, and I heard speaking words of wisdom. No, Mother Mary came to me, speaking words of wisdom. Let it be. Let it
indeed.
Mhm.
Thank you. Beautiful.
Mm.
And did Shay share?
Yes, I think so.
Did everybody share a thing?
Did everybody share their word? I think so, but
Yeah.
it was harder when it's kind of
When
popcorn.
we're spacey, then it's a little like, oh.
I just kept thinking of the unbearable lightness of being.
Mm.
That your words kind of invoked that, and I'm feeling
Yeah.
that.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I've got to hop. Thank you.
Mm.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
And we're not meeting next week, right?
That's right. And
Because
we're
we're
not.
at the retreat.
And then the one following one is Memorial Day, so I thought that was going to be a bust at 8:30 on Memorial Day. So I'm not going to do Memorial Day, but we'll start in again in June. So I'll send out an email to all of you, and we're just asking for all of June, end of July, all of August will be a $25 registration fee, and then we'll send you out the link.
And if you know anybody else who's interested, let them know. I'll put it out.
Yeah.
But thank you guys so much. And we look forward to seeing
So good
some
to
of you
see
at the
all.
retreat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great.
Bye.
Bye.
Ooh,
Adios.
Adios.
Adios.